Start. And today we will have important class like if two more people are joining. Okay. So today we are going to start the development part. So far we have seen environment setup. We seen all the Git account setup, Jira account setup, Confluence setup, all those things. Then we have seen requirement gathering and functional design document part. Okay. There we discuss flow diagram, API landscape diagram, sequence diagram, all those things we discussed. And last class we created RAML and we followed all the best practice of RAML like creating segment, traits, data type, library. Okay. Based on that, we created RAML and we followed all the best practice. And development wise, we just started. So we created repository, we cloned it in local and we created new project in our workspace in that same like clone repository. So that we created. So now we'll follow next steps. Let me share my screen. Yeah, GitHub Access, I got busy with some other work, but I have shared all the document and everything in WhatsApp group. Okay. Since everyone go on mute. Everyone please go on mute. Okay. So GitHub Access, someone asked they haven't received GitHub Access. That's why I shared all the document in our group. So your development or your learning will not be on hold. All the documents available in WhatsApp, and soon I will give Git access also. So you can access either from group, WhatsApp group, or you can access from the Git repository. Now coming to this project part, so far we have just created one initial draft version of this project. And now today we will work on some development part and we'll see first we will see what all standards we should follow, what all folder structure we should maintain, everything we'll see here. So what I will do, I will create here two more folder. Okay. One folder I will create implementation folder, which will be part of SRC main mule. And inside this only, we will create one common folder. So in common folder, we will keep all the common file folder and everything. And inside implementation folder, whatever implementation logic we will have, we will write inside this folder. Okay. The purpose of maintaining this folder structure and all to make our code more understandable. Like it will be easy to understand and all. Since on same code, many developers will work. If our things will not be sorted, if things will not be by following one standard, then for developer, like it will be difficult to work on each other code. Okay. So they can understand their code very easily, but if they will work on others code, it will be difficult to understand things. Okay. So to make things sorted, what we are going to do here, we are going to follow some best practice or some standards. We are working on that part only. So first standard, as I mentioned, Like we should create one common folder where we will put all the common code or share code. An implementation folder, here we will put all the implementation logic. Apart of that, inside this SRC main resources, we will create one more folder that will be properties file. Okay. So inside this property folder, based on the environment, okay, based on the environment, we will create different property file. Okay. So whenever you will work for any standard project, there we will have multiple environment like dev, SIT, UAT, pre-prod, and prod. And each environment have their own purpose. Let's say dev environment. So dev environment will be used by developer. So once they will complete the unit testing, we will deploy their code on dev environment and we will perform one round of testing there to make sure everything is working fine. Then they will like developer will move code on SIT. Their testing team will do all kind of integration testing and will make sure all the functionality is working as expected. So once testing team will complete the SIT, then we'll move our code on UAT environment where user will
Voice is not audible, sir.
not sure. Someone has muted me. So can anyone tell me like from how much time am I, like my voice was not audible?
Just now, sir.
Okay. So I was discussing about like different environments. So whenever you will work for any project, so in that project there will be multiple environment like SIT, UAT, dev, pre-prod, prod, like that we will have multiple environment. Okay. So generally dev environment will be used by developer whenever they will complete the unit testing. They will deploy on dev environment and will make sure all the functionality are working as expected. After that, we'll move our code on SIT environment where testing team will do all the kind of testing and they will make sure all the functionality and everything is working fine. So they will do integration testing on SIT environment. And once testing will be completed on SIT, then code will move on UAT environment where user like our business user will validate all the functionality to make sure everything is working fine. And once we'll get all the approval from the SIT team, like testing team from the user, then we'll move our code on pre-prod environment. Okay. So in pre-prod environment, again, we do some kind of testing. So pre-prod environment should be similar to production environment. And that environment we use to make sure once our code will go on production, everything
Excuse
will
me,
be
Ravi, are you sharing your screen? It
no,
does. I don't see it.
yeah, at this moment I am on Microsoft Team only. Okay. So it's a theoretical discussion, so no need to explain it, like share anything. So once everything will be done, then we'll move our code on pre-prod environment. And in pre-prod environment, we will make sure all the functionality are working as expected. Our application will able to take proper loads. Okay. So on production, how much load we accept, we do that kind of load testing. We do performance testing. Okay. Testing team will make sure all the like API are meeting their SLA. Okay, none of them are breaching the SLA based on the load provided by user. So a part of this performance testing, load testing, we do dry run also on pre-prod environment, and then we do some kind of pen test and all on pre-prod environment. Okay, so pen test is kind of like security test to make sure our application is not it cannot be hacked by any hacker. So they do different kind of testing to make sure our application is more secured and all. So generally, pen test team will do all those kind of testing on pre-prod environment. So these are the like environment we used to have: developer, develop, SIT, UAT, pre-prod, and prod. Okay. So for each environment, there will be different value of the servers and all. Let's say database is there. So for SIT, we will have different database. For UAT, we will have different. For production, we will have different database. Okay. So their detail like user ID, host, port, and things will keep changing based on the environment to environment. Okay. So that's why what we do, how many servers we have, for each server, we do create property file. Okay. So do right click, new file, or let's say for dev environment, dev.em. This property file I created. As I mentioned, how many environments we have. For each environment, we need this kind of property. So dev site.yml. Prod. Okay. So this many property file we have. Value of the property file we will update later on. At this moment, I just create property file. Yeah. So folder structure wise, I think we are good. Few things we need to update in POM file. Okay. That is for CI/CD pipeline that we will discuss later on. First, let's complete the development. Now coming to this common folder. Okay. Inside this common folder, we will create some common things like first we will create mule configuration file, and here inside common folder we will create global error handler. Okay. So we will create one file for global error. So we'll put file name error.xml. You can put global error. Anything is fine. So sometime it will come outside automatically. So you need to drag and drop. So one thing I created global error.xml. And what I will do, whatever error handling I will do inside this XML file only. And will use from where, like within this application, wherever I want to use, I will use from there. Okay. But all the error handling we will create inside the global error handler file. Okay. So first thing what we need to do, go to core and drag and drop one error handler. Okay. And for this error handler, we will give name as a API kit. Okay. So why I'm giving name as a API kit? So by default, API kit will generate multiple errors. Okay. We will move all those errors from there, from here inside this API XML to this global error handler. Okay. So that's why I given name as a API kit.xml. So how we can move it? Go to api.xml and you can see this API kit router. Like whenever you will create your mule application for API kit router, you will have many error handler. On error propagate bad request, on error propagate not found, method not allowed, not acceptable, unsupported media type, not implemented. Like that, we have many error scenario which we are handling for API kit router. So what I will do, select any one of them, do right click, go to XML. Okay, so we are at this place. So what I will do, this error handler start on line 18 and it end at line number 97. So what I will do, I will tick everything from 19 till 97 on error propagate one. Okay, so what I will do, I will take everything Control X. Okay, and I will go to global error handler. So this is the XML tag. Since nothing is here, that's why this tag is closing here. But now I need to add something. So you need to write this kind of tag. So what I did, I copied XML code from there and what that XML code contains, error handling part. And I moved inside the global error handler. So here I need to paste it. See, whatever we had on error propagate, I copied all the on error propagate from that place and I moved here. So what is the purpose of moving from there to here? Since this is the global error handler file, okay, so all the error handling logic we will put here. So throughout our application, wherever we need anything, we can call from there. Okay. And the reason behind this, why we are doing this, we want to make it global error handler, which can be shared across the application. Now you will see we removed everything from here. Okay. Now we don't have any error handling here. I did initially it was everything was here. We moved everything from here and we moved here. So how, if anything will fail here, how it will handle that error? Okay. So for that purpose, what we can do, we can point to global error handler here. So what I did reference of global error handler in this error handler. Okay, now if there will be any error, it will first come to this error handler and it will go to global error handler here. And then it will check it's a bad request or not found or method not allowed. Anyone has any doubt on this part?
We do the same thing for all that error handlers or only one.
We did for all, no? Whatever API kit error handler was there, we moved everything in global and we just pointed.
Oh,
Okay, so next you can see this API kit console router is there. And here also we have on error propagate API kit not found, which we have already since previously we had flow level error handler. So that's why same thing we were defining again and again. But now we have defined global error handler. So simply delete this. Okay, and here point the global error handler. So you can see by placing all the error handler inside global error handler, we are maximizing the code reusability.
Why we have this API console? Like why we have two listener in this API?
Yeah. So this is by default one. Whenever you will create your mule application using YAML file, automatically this API kit router and API console router will be created. And generally, like in real time, we will call the API kit router, but API console router will give you flexibility to test your application through browser. Okay. So whenever you will deploy your application, so automatically you will get one console page also. From there, you can test your API. Okay. If you want to test instead of using Postman and all, if you want to test your API through console, then this API console router will take request and will handle the request.
So here we do not need to pass anything like header and all, is it?
Header and all. No, whatever you are passing, whatever you have defined in your YAML, you have to pass everything.
I'm not sure if from browser if we can pass it.
Yeah, you have to pass everything. Header, query parameter, whatever you have defined in your YAML, you have to pass everything. No matter you are passing, you are using the API kit router, you are calling your API from Postman, or you are using API console router, and you are passing your request from the browser. Both places it's mandatory. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So here you can see we are just referring the global error handler, and here also we are doing so. Okay. So this part we are good, and we created global error handler. Now, so here we have the implementation flow. Okay, we are calling this post registration endpoint. So whenever request will come, that request will come to listener. Okay. This listener will pass that request to API kit router. API kit router will call the YAML file and it will validate the YAML. Okay. And then once all the request will be validated, it will go to implementation flow, this flow. Okay. From here, we will call the implementation flow file that I will show you soon. Okay. Now coming to this part, whenever we will receive the request, first thing we need to do, we need to it's a good practice to initialize all the request payload. Okay, whatever request data you are getting, store all the request data somewhere. Okay, so how we will do that? That I will show you. And then second important thing we need to do, we need to do request log, and we need to do start log, and we need to do end log. Okay. So here we will do start and end log. And before that, we will initialize all the variable. So now you will say in logger, start log and log, what all detail you need to capture, what all detail we should capture. So there are like Mulesoft recommendation also. So Mulesoft has their one documentation there. They have mentioned what all like detail you should capture in logger, and company to company you can create your own standard also. Okay, but things will be very similar. Only few things will change from organization to organization. Otherwise, it's one format they have given, but I think they have some better format. Let me see where they have that documentation. Somewhere they have document like documentation, but it's unable to find at this moment. So based on their documentation, I have already captured what all things we should display. Okay, so this is the log structure document. Here you can see. So based on their standard, like and based on my experience, I created this format. So let me share with everyone. So you can see here, I have given name like different log name, start log, end log, then this is log. Okay. So whenever we do logging, we should not do too much logging also. And at the same time, we should not do too less logging also. Okay. Since logging is not part of your business requirement, logging we do to monitor our application. Okay. So if you will do too many logging, then what will happen? Most of like many in your process execution for each logger will take lots of time. Okay, and that will impact performance of your API. At the same time, in log data, there will be too many data if you will do too many log. So it will be difficult to monitor your application. So that's why in logging, we should not do too much logging also, and we should not do too less logging also. We should do enough logging so that we can monitor our application. So as per my understanding and as per standard, we should do request and like we should do start and end log. Start log whenever your API will start the execution. End log whenever your API will end the execution. That will be first and second. Third and fourth is whenever you do any external system call, let's say you are calling Salesforce, you are calling database. So whenever you will call any external system, you should do start and end log there. Or you should do request log and response log. So whenever you will call the external system, before that you will do request log, and whenever you will get response, after that we will do one logging that will be response log. And next log we will do for error one. So whenever there will be error, we will do one set of logging. So this is for start, this is for end, this is for request, this is for response, and this is for error. So you will see slight difference will be there. So here in start log, transaction state will be start. And timestamp like the timestamp will be current time, like what will be system time at that time, that will be here. Okay. In case of response log, transaction state will be end. Okay. And this will be again like timestamp will be current system log. What will be system time at that time? We will capture that one. Okay. And after that, you can see here we have request and response log. This log will do whenever we are calling whenever we are calling some external system, either Salesforce, database, JMS, or whatever system we are calling, we will do start log and end log. And everywhere you will see we are capturing timestamp, transaction ID, which we are coming in, getting in request, then app name, okay, and then flow name. Then we have business process, category. Okay, so like this way we do maintain loggers. Okay, so like definitely whenever we do add logging and all, it will take some time. It will not play any role in business logic, but it will help you to monitor your application. Okay, so it's you can say mandatory part of our application. So you must need to do. So these are the fields which you need to capture, and soon, like once we will implement, we will see all this. This is the format of error log. Hope everyone clear on this part. What all things. So at this moment, we are going to do start log. So what I will do, I will copy this. Need to do small modification there that we will do. Okay. This is for start log and this is for end log. Detail part we will update. We need to do small change in detail part. But in this way, first we will have one transform message which will initialize all the data. Okay. So initialize part also I have already created. So let me do copy paste to make it faster. And then I will explain this thing. So I just did copy paste since we have already this code. So what I did, I replaced this transform message with the new transform message. Where what we are doing, we are initializing all the request data. You can see we are initializing payload inside payload variable. This is the variable request data is variable which contain payload as a child element, which contains all the data of the message payload. Okay. So again, we are getting attribute query parameter. So we are capturing all the query parameter inside query params. We are capturing all the URI parameter inside the URI params. Okay. And we are capturing all the headers inside the header. So what exactly we are doing here? Whatever request data we are getting, we are storing all those request data inside this variable, inside this request data variable. Okay. So in this way, we are initializing, and then we have start log, we have end log, and in between the start and end log, we need to apply all the business logic. Okay. So business logic part we will implement. Before that, I need 5-minute break, and then we will start the business logic part. Okay. Meanwhile, people can also take a 5-minute break. Just give me 5 minutes.
من اللي تحت بيت مشغل ما بتعلم من اللي تحت
Sorry, I'm not. Uh, I'm not sure. Someone is trying to mute me. So please don't click on mute everyone. Otherwise, I will be mute. I will go on mute, and other people will not able to understand my message. Okay? So for everyone, don't select this mute everyone option in chat. Otherwise, my voice will be muted. Okay. So we were discussing about this initialize part. What we are doing. We are initializing everything, like we are initializing the payload. We are storing inside payload. We are storing all the query parameter inside this. We are storing all the URI parameter inside this. We are storing all the headers inside this. At the starting of like process, we are capturing the log. We are capturing one time in our variable. So we can use that anywhere. So what we did, everything we created inside this variable. Okay. So this variable will contain all the request data. Okay. So after that, we will have start log, we will have end log, and in between we will have all the business logic, whatever processing we want to do. So for this API, like this is the system API. For this API, what we are going to do, we are going to call the Salesforce system to insert the data. So we are going to create in system API, we are going to connect with Salesforce, and we will do all the business logic and orchestration. Okay, so business logic and orchestration we will not do here. We will do in process layer, but here so here we will connect with the external system, that is the Salesforce system. Okay. So generally, whenever we have any implementation logic, so instead of writing here, what we will do, we will write all the implementation logic here, and from this place we will call that implementation logic file. Okay. So let's say inside this implementation. So here we will put one file name, which will be implementation file. So this implementation will be for customer registration. Okay. So we'll give name like this: post customer IMPL implementation .xml. XML will take automatically. So sometime it will automatically come outside. So you need to drag and drop. So here we have this. So here we will do our like implementation part. So what implementation we are going to do here? We are going to connect with the Salesforce system. We are going to insert data into Salesforce. So to connect with Salesforce system, first thing we need Salesforce connector. So here we have HTTP connector, socket connector, API kit connector, but we don't have Salesforce connector. So you can go to add module and from here you can add. So you need to search for Salesforce one. So drag and drop it here. Okay. Now inside that we have multiple operation. So we are going to use create operation. Okay. So we'll use create operation. Okay. So if you will drag and drop directly, then it will come inside the flow. But we want within the subflow. So first you need to drag and drop the subflow. So here we need to call the Salesforce to work on this, to do this create query. So that data will be created inside the Salesforce. And as I mentioned, whenever we are calling any external system, we should have log before and after. So we will have one logger here. Okay. So this will be request logger. Okay. And payload structure we can take from here. This is the format for request logger whenever we are calling the external system. We have once we will get the response back. Have this request logger. We have this response logger. And then we have this create logger component, the Salesforce component. Now we need to call this implementation flow from this particular flow from here. So how we will do that? We will use flow reference for this. Here, post customer implementation subflow, we will call that particular flow. So our control will come here and we have this configuration here. So now to configure this Salesforce connector, first thing we need Salesforce connector configuration. So inside this common folder only, we will create one more configuration file, and that will contain all the global configuration. So this will contain all the global configuration. So what global configuration I want to create at this moment? I want to create for Salesforce connector. Okay. So here, go to create connector configuration, Salesforce connector, click on OK. Okay. So here we need to provide the username, password. So let's say SFTC username, SFTC password. Then we have, if we are using basic authentication, we need to provide the security token. So later on, I will show you. So this token and password is sensitive information. So how we will encrypt that? That part we will discuss later on. At this moment, we are capturing all these things just. So object wise, this object we will create for our this development purpose. So soon we are going to create. So I given name before this. So we'll use name as a customer demo. Underscore C I given, since that object we will create customer demo. Okay. So if it is created by us, that is custom object. And for that we need underscore C. Okay. So let me know till this point if anyone has any doubt, you can ask your question.
Is this logger format same for every project? Can we use as
Yeah.
a common format?
Yes, you can use.
Okay.
And Ravi, for this Salesforce connector, when we are giving the credential, if we are giving directly in this connector and in global element also we are giving the different credentials, so which one it will pick?
Yeah, so we are taking from the Salesforce connector one. No? We are taking everything from property file, correct?
So
So we are
just in
using
case
property symbol.
if we have different credential in global configuration and connector we have different credential.
I didn't get your query. Tell me again.
So, can we give this credential directly? Suppose I'm giving hard-coded value in this global
Yeah,
element.
you can give hard-coded value, but we are taking from property file, so that's why we use this symbol dollar, then curly braces, and then property name.
My question was like, can we give a different credential in global element? Like here, can we configure different credential and then the the connector directly in connector, can we give different one?
See, whatever connector configuration we used, we created, we can use one connector configuration throughout the application. Okay, so within this application, wherever we need the Salesforce connection, we will use same connector configuration there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ravi. Hello?
Yes.
Okay, you created a subflow in the implementation file. So the subflow doesn't have error handler, right? If an error occurs, what would happen? How does that error will be dealt?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat your question again?
Okay, in the implementation file, you created a subflow.
Yes.
The subflow doesn't have an error handler by itself, right? So if an error occurs on that implementation file on the subflow, how does the system deal with that error?
Yeah. So for that, we'll discuss. So we'll show you like if there will be any error. So how we will handle that, and if it is not handled, then what will happen? So that discussion we are going to do soon. So just wait for some time.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Ravi.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. From which location we are doing connector configuration? In that we are given that security token. Which area to you are taking that security token?
Okay. If you remember when I given the detail of Salesforce connector, I mentioned one thing like we need to go to security token and we need to generate the token and we need to pass that token whenever we want to connect with Salesforce.
Okay.
Okay. So we don't have any other query. So we can continue. So here you can see one thing. This global element by mistakenly it created inside this post customer implementation file. So what I will do, I will copy it from here and I will, or better we can create directly inside this global config. Okay. So all the property file and configuration we will do inside the global config. Okay. So let me delete it from here. We'll go to global config, global element, create connector configuration, Salesforce one. So this will be username. Password. Security token. Okay. So these three things we are taking from property file. So these three things we need to define inside the property file. And at the Starting, we are going to use div one, so we will define inside div. So sfdc. So what all property we created? Username, then password, security, username, password, and security token. Okay. This value, username, password, and security token, we have already stored. So the username, password, I need to check. And then we have security token. If you remember, we have generated this security token when we discuss about the Salesforce account setup and all. Okay, password part I need to check, so I will check and I will update here. So in this way, you can create the property file. So this property file I created for dev environment. So same way, you need to create for all the environment. There might be possibility it can be same detail also, it can be different detail also. Okay, based on the environment, if let's say Salesforce has each environment like SIT, UAT, develop, production, then for each environment, user ID, password, everything will be different. Okay. There might be a possibility on Salesforce side, they are using only one non-production and one production. So in that case, this username, password, and token will not change from one every time. Okay. It might be for non-production, we can have same value, so we can put non-production value here in dev.yaml or everywhere on all the non-production environment. Okay, so in this way, we can create the property file and we can define the property value and we can use wherever we want in this Mule application. So let me know if anyone has any doubt on this part.
Ravi, you have given just few minutes before deleting that. You have created a username password like SFDC username, SFDC password, and SFDC token also. So and those one and this one are the different, right?
Those one and this one, no, it's the same only, no? We are taking value, all this value we are taking from here. Okay, when we created this Salesforce connector configuration, we are taking all those value from the property file.
And here username is okay, dollar SFDC dot user. Okay, that is the val, right, right, got it, got it, got it.
Okay, fine. So yeah, today it looks like after office, feeling a bit tired. Okay, so we'll continue next of the session in tomorrow. Okay, so timing wise, let me see. Tomorrow we will take 1 hour in 6 to 7 also, and then from we will take from 9 to 10:30 like that. Okay, and we will complete the development of system API and testing also. So development we did, lots of things we did, and I will complete by tomorrow. Only thing now pending, we need to get the data, request data, and we need to write the proper query, create query to insert the data into Salesforce, and then we need to do testing. Otherwise, everything we have already completed. Okay, so we can end our session for today. If anyone has any query, you can ask. Otherwise, we are good to end our session.
Hi Ravi, can we use loggers when we call system API from process API to requester?